Welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled you're joining us today because we're diving into something that literally impacts every single one of us on a daily basis: how we move around our cities, and honestly, how we survive the daily journey. We're going to unpack the massive systemic evolution happening right now in Greater Geelong's transport network. Get this, between 2010 and 2019 alone, this region's population surged by over 46,000 people. And if you add a massive 70% population spike on top of that during the peak holiday season, well, you've got a transport network that is just bursting at the seams every single day. Okay, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and look at this really jarring statistic. 200. That's the number of fatal and serious injury crashes that happen annually right here on Geelong's local roads. Out of those 200 serious crashes, 8 result in fatalities, year in and year out. It's a number that fluctuates a tiny bit, but has stubbornly refused to drop over the last decade. This one number shows exactly why just passively managing traffic is no longer an option, and why we need rapid, systemic intervention. It is absolutely critical. So to wrap our heads around how the city is actually fixing this, we're going to walk through 1. The transport transformation, 2. The Marshall Station upgrade, 3. Vision Zero, 4. The safe system approach, and finally, 5. Roadside recovery and towing.
All right, part 1, the Geelong transport transformation.
When you're dealing with congestion this bad, you've got to think big, like macro level big. To ease the pressure on our roads and reduce trauma, people need better, safer alternatives to driving. We are talking about a whopping $1 billion investment into the South Geelong to Warren Ponds duplication project. By actually duplicating the track and upgrading the signaling, trains will finally be able to pass each other. This means we recover way faster from unexpected delays, and most importantly, it bumps capacity up to 5 train services per hour during peak times. The bottom line: get more commuters safely onto trains and off those jammed up roads. Moving right along to part 2, upgrading Marshall Station. So what does $1 billion actually look like in your neighborhood? Well, it translates directly into localized hubs like Marshall Station. They are completely rebuilding this place. We're looking at a brand new second platform, a fully accessible pedestrian overpass with ramps and lifts, and over 200 new parking spaces. But honestly, from a safety perspective, the real game changer is the new dedicated bus interchange. By physically separating the everyday vehicles from the buses and upgrading pedestrian crossings, they are literally engineering the daily danger right out of your morning commute. Of course, infrastructure of this scale doesn't just happen overnight. It takes some serious staging. Early works, things like moving key Barwon water pipelines, kicked off back in 2022. Major construction followed later that year, and the whole massive transformation is targeted for completion in late 2024. Which brings us to part 3, Vision Zero, safer roads. Now, here's the really crucial thing to understand about Vision Zero. It doesn't just aim for fewer crashes. It demands a total systemic overhaul to completely eliminate road trauma. It started as a global movement, and the fundamental ethos here is incredibly powerful. No loss of life is ever acceptable on our transport network, period. Because look, this isn't just abstract traffic engineering on a spreadsheet, right? This is about protecting vulnerable human beings. When we talk about road safety, we're talking about families, kids walking to school, and pedestrians just navigating their own neighborhoods. Human bodies have very strict physical tolerances. We simply cannot withstand the force of a high-speed vehicle crash. Vision Zero places the protection of human life above literally every other transport objective. And they are putting some incredibly strict deadlines on this moral imperative. Under the 2022 to 2027 strategy, the interim goal is to cut road deaths and serious injuries in half by 2030. The ultimate, absolute target: 0 fatalities by 2050. Let's look at part 4, the safe system approach. To actually hit those ambitious targets, the city relies on this brilliantly structured framework. It basically breaks down crash factors into 4 interacting pillars. First, safe roads and paths that actually forgive our human errors. Second, safe speeds, because even a tiny speed difference completely changes a crash outcome. Third, safe people, meaning, we all need to pay attention. And fourth, safe vehicles equipped with modern tech to prevent collisions. It's like a giant safety net. If one pillar fails, the others are there to catch you and save lives. So what does this actually look like right outside your front door? Well, the immediate actions you're going to see include rolling out area-wide 40-kilometer-per-hour residential zones wherever the data shows speed is an issue. It means proactive traffic management, trailing specific safety treatments around schools, and physically separating cyclists from heavy, fast-moving traffic. And the beauty of this framework is how adaptable it is. Take coastal spots like 13th Beach Road in Barwon Heads. Remember that massive 70% population surge we talked about during tourist season? Well, the Safe System approach handles this by implementing seasonal speed limits and audio-tactile rumble strips right by the beach. It protects that huge influx of people exactly when they are most at risk.
And finally, Part 5, roadside recovery and towing. Now, despite all this amazing systemic safety infrastructure, we still have to live in reality, right? We have to plan for what happens when things go wrong. In fact, the Safe System literally includes a core principle stating, people make mistakes. Human error, a sudden mechanical failure, getting a flat tire, it's inevitable. And that means a really vital part of a safe transport network is having rapid, professional roadside assistance ready to clear hazards before a secondary accident happens.
This is exactly where local, highly responsive roadside services step up as critical infrastructure in their own right. Take operators like Elite 24/7 Towing, covering areas down through Torquay and Charlemont. They act as that rapid response team necessary to keep the whole network flowing. Whether it's a breakdown in the dead of night or an accident during the morning rush, having these professionals around the clock ensures one single point of failure doesn't compromise the safety of the entire road.
And as our cars evolve, how we recover them is evolving too. Traditional towing, where they lift a car by two wheels and just drag it, puts an immense amount of stress on modern suspensions. Enter tilt tray towing. This method completely eclipses the old way. It uses a movable flat tray that literally lowers to the ground. The whole car is securely winched onto the flatbed, and boom, zero dragging, zero mechanical strain, and complete stability. And this shift to tilt tray towing is absolutely crucial if you're driving a modern electric or hybrid vehicle. Think about it. EVs are heavy, they have really low ground clearance because of those massive underbody battery packs, and they use complex regenerative braking systems. If you drag an EV on two wheels, you could cause catastrophic damage to the battery and motors. Actually, for brands like Tesla, Polestar, and BYD, a tilt tray is usually the only manufacturer-approved towing method. Do it any other way, and you might completely void your warranty. Which brings us to the end of our explainer, and I want to leave you with a thought here. We've looked at everything from billion-dollar train upgrades at Marshall Station to 40-kilometer-per-hour school zones, all the way to advanced EV tilt tray towing. The city is building this incredible, systemic safety net. But Principle 4 of the Safe System reminds us that safety is a shared responsibility. The infrastructure is doing its part, but ultimately, we are the ones behind the wheel. We all share this road. So as you head out on your next commute, how will you contribute to keeping our community safe today?